Hey, how's it going? My name is Dan. I used to work at the biggest dealership in the country, and now I teach fine folks like you how not to get fucked when buying a car. Now in this video, I want to talk to you about recalls, what they mean, how to handle them, and what is a recall and how big companies handle them. I'm going to give you two completely different approaches to a recall. A recall is a problem with the car that the car has to go back to a dealership fixed and then you can drive it again. So it's a problem that they made when they were assembling the car. So it's some kind of an issue. You know, it could be big, it could be small. Sometimes it's just a computer update that they have to do. Sometimes, you know, it's $1,000 fix. Sometimes it's a $10 fix. Literally, sometimes it's as low as $10 fix. Sometimes it's as low as $3 worth of tape. On Ford, where they had a problem with the seat belt, they just put 3M tape, which is like 99 cents. They took it apart, put the tape, that's it. It was a 99-cent solution. You know, recalls range anywhere from 99 cents to, you know, a lot of money. So a couple of years ago, Takata Airbag made a mistake of putting bad metal in their airbags. So the airbag, the steering wheel airbag, would corrode inside and it would explode and it would send pieces of metal into people's face. Nobody wants to get shot with exploding metal in their face. It was a problem. You know what Honda did? I'm not speaking for other manufacturers. I'm just speaking for what Honda did. And unfortunately, I can't even speak for other manufacturers because they were fucking Jews that didn't want to do anything. They didn't have the same solution as Honda. Honda offered people that had this problem a loaner car for as long as their car was getting repaired. And it took 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It was a lot of money. A lot. Insane amount of money. Imagine this. 1.6 million cars were affected by this. Honda offered every single person a loaner car. And it wasn't, you know, some kind of shit loaner. It was exactly what you're driving. If you're driving a Honda SUV, you would get another SUV. It wouldn't be a Honda. It would be, you know, recall free, you know, a car that has no problem. They would just get a rental car for you. An SUV. If you had a two-door, you would get a two-door. If you had a minivan, you would get a minivan. Simple as that. Let's just do some math. 1.6 million cars times at least $600 to rent a car for a month. That's $960 million. Multiply that by 3, 4, 5, 6 months. That's billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. That is absolutely insane. That's what Honda did. There was a recall. They offered their customers free loaner cars. Not only they fixed the recall for free, but they gave free cars to everybody that had this problem. Now let's see how Ford handled their $13 recall. $13. Watch this video here.
This has to do with the Ford Pinto. I'm not sure if you're aware of the recent revelations that have come out about the production of that car. Ford produced it knowing full well that in any rear-end collision, the gas tank would blow up because they had failed to install a $13 plastic block in front of the gas tank. And Ford estimated in an internal memo that that would cost about 200 lives a year. And they estimated further that the cost of each life would be $200,000. They multiplied and they found that the cost of installing those blocks in each of the cars would be more than the cost of saving those 200 lives. And over the past 7 years, the car has been produced and over 1,000 lives have been lost. It seems to me that Ford did what would be the right thing according to your policy. And yet that seems to me to be very wrong.
For those of you that didn't understand, Ford Pinto would literally explode if somebody would rear-end the car over 30 miles an hour. That's insane. Do you know how many people died? A lot. And it wasn't a nice death. You know, it wasn't shrapnel through the back of your head and you're dead. No, 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 no. When you die in this accident, you're getting burned alive like steak. There was no bodies to be buried. There was just charcoal left. That's it. When you get into this situation right here, when there's a gas burning all around you, you literally die burning alive. You know what Ford did? Here's another video for those of you that are not still mind-blowing. Here's another video. Watch this.
The Ford Pinto case is a classic case of white-collar crime. The Ford Pinto case involved the production of the Ford Pinto under the Rule of 2000 from early 1970s to late 1970s. Rule of 2000 was that Ford wanted to create a car that weighed less than 2,000 pounds and could be bought for less than $2,000. That car was the Ford Pinto. The problem with the Pinto, however, in its design was at rear collisions, a bolt would go through the gas tank and that car would explode as a result of rear collisions at relatively low speeds, like 10 miles an hour. Ford officials presumably recognized this design flaw, and they engaged in some rational calculus to decide on whether or not to do a recall or not on the car. The recall would have cost Ford about $121 million to repair the car, put a bumper on the nut, on the bolt rather, that was penetrating the gas tank, or they could pay lawsuits for about $50 million, or estimated lawsuits of $50 million. Ford decided basically to pay the lawsuits rather than recall the car. They were criminally prosecuted, but not successfully in terms of criminal homicide, and it's a classic example of the difficulty with criminal prosecution of corporations in terms of criminal liability.
This is why I cannot wait until Ford is buried under 6 feet of fucking concrete. They're doing everything they can to stay alive. And the reason I make so many Ford videos, not so many, but I don't think I make enough, but I make plenty, is because of this right here. Because of this shit that they pull. They could have saved people's life for $13. Their customers' lives were not worth $13. $13. Do you know what the solution was? Here's the solution. In figure 2, the picture below, you see the solution. Move the gas tank up and inside the car. So when there is a car accident, right, so somebody rear ends this car, guess what? The car doesn't blow up. Like in all other cars, we have cars get into accidents all the time. They don't blow up. They don't blow up. But Ford decided to save $13 and not do it. $13 fucking dollars. Well, next time you're buying a Ford, ask yourself, would you pay $13 more for this car? Because Ford didn't want to pay $13 more to save their customers' lives. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up below and click the subscribe button over my head, or watch one of those 2 videos if you want to see more money saving tips about cars. This is Dan with 60 Minute Car. I'm signing out, and I'll see you on the internet.